Hi everyone and welcome back to Poised For Making. I'm Rachel. This is a place where I make it happen and hopefully inspire you to do the same. Today I've got some gift knitting, some knitting for myself, and a new craft that you might have seen in the intro. So let's see what I've been up to these past 2 months. So my make of the day was actually kind of hard to choose just one. As you can imagine, in the last 2 months, I've finished a lot of stuff. So for my make of the day, I'm just going with this pair of socks that I made myself. They're not very nice right now because I actually wore them the other day, so they're a little dirty and anyway. So these socks I made in like 3 weeks. It's the fastest I've ever made a pair of socks. But it's like sport weight yarn instead of fingering weight yarn. It's Patton's Croy sock yarn. Up here is the gray color in gray marl. And it's like a sport heavy fingering, I would say. I think most people treat it as like a sport weight, even though it's a sock yarn. So I used a US size 2 needles, and then I used the Fast and Easy sock pattern. It's a free sport weight sock pattern for just like these basic socks. So they have a basic wedge toe. The rainbow is one of my ultimate favorite yarns. It's Yarn Bee Chloe in the Pick of the Bunch colorway. If y'all have been around, you know I've used this for so many projects because I just love it so much. It's really soft. The gradient of colors is really nice. It's a single ply, so that's kind of interesting. And I just really like it. So I use that for the toes and the heel, which is an afterthought heel. Again, like they're not looking really nice right now because I wore them and stretched them out. I really like them. The Croy is definitely the most like toothy, kind of itchy sock yarn I've worked with. Definitely when I first put them on before washing or anything, I was like, I don't know about this. But they did get softer after I washed them once, and then when I was wearing them throughout the day, I didn't notice it as much, and I think it'll continue to soften as I wash and wear them. So we'll see. I think it'll be okay, but I really like how they turned out. I think they're just so cute, and they're just a nice little ankle height, pretty basic. The only thing I would say is I do kind of wish I put my afterthought heel a little bit higher up. The heel is not as deep as I thought it would be. Mine ended up only being like maybe an inch deep. So if I make this pattern again, and I think I will, because it was just like a really basic toe up sport weight sock, and I've got some gray left, so I'll probably make another pair, and I think I'll put the heel maybe like 3 or 4 rows higher on the next pair, and I think that'll just fit a little better. So yeah, that is my make of the day. A lot of the other things I've made over the past 2 months-ish, I don't actually have with me because they were gift knits. For the winter holiday, I celebrate Christmas, and it was, you know, it's the end of the semester. A lot was happening at the end of the semester with my job and with school and everything. So I did make some stuff for coworkers. So we had a secret buddy, secret Santa gift exchange. And for my buddy, I made this hat. I'll put in a nice little picture there. So I got the basic hat on just like Amazon, and it had the words embroidered on it already. And then I went over it with some embroidery and added some flowers and vines like around the front, and then around the back of the hat I added some more little like plants and flourishes, just to give it a little more style, and the recipient really liked it. It totally fits his style, and just kind of his personality. So I was really proud of it. And some of my coworkers didn't know that I do embroidery. Most of them know that I knit, but I don't embroider a whole lot. So a lot of them didn't know I could do that. So that was kind of interesting to be able to talk to people about it and stuff. And then let's see. I made gifts for 2 other coworkers, and this was just for fun. They're also some of my best friends, and I really, really appreciate them. And so I wanted to make them a little something for the end of the semester and the holiday season. So I made this pair of mittens, just using tin can knits, world's simplest mittens pattern. I think I made the largest size, because he's like over 6 feet tall, so he's got big hands, so I wanted to make sure that they would fit. And they do. They fit him just about perfect. They maybe are a little long, like in the fingers, the main like mitten part of the finger, but like he said it was fine. And he said like if he's pulling them up or moving around or whatever, he'd rather them be a little longer, which I think is true. So you might have noticed I used some By Pride colors on the cuff. That was intentional. I thought it was just a cool little fun detail to add in there. I wanted to do something simple but with a little bit of flair for him, and I think that is just, again, really fitting for his personality. And like if he's got a jacket on or long sleeves, or there's some reason he maybe wants to kind of cover that up, he can. It's not quite as in your face. Or if he wants to, let that By Pride flag fly, say that 5 times fast, he can leave it out and just enjoy the nice colors. So those turned out really well. I also made a pair of worsted weight socks for another one of my coworkers, and these were kind of a struggle. I had to restart them like 2 or 3 times. I guessed on his shoe size, and then later on I was able to sort of casually in conversation ask what his shoe size is, and I was off. I was way off. So I had to start over, make them bigger. But in the end, I think they turned out okay. Both of those projects, I just used some acrylic yarn from, I think, Joann or Michaels. I don't even really know. I wanted something that, would be washable, sturdy, and not require a whole lot of maintenance beyond just basic washing. So that worked out great for them. The other gift I made is my boyfriend's socks, which he so generously let me borrow to bring on here. So this is the Warm Feet for Everybody pattern, and it's a pretty simple toe-up sock with a heel flap and gusset. I think I talked in the last episode, I think a heel flap and gusset fits him better than like an afterthought heel would, because he has tall like arches, I would say. I don't know. Anyway, but they fit him really well. They're actually maybe a little long, and by that I mean like 1 or 2 rounds. They're just, to me, they seem a little loose, but again, he said they're fine. So I don't know. This is Yarn Bee's Cozy Toes yarn in the Mermaid Eyes color. I used 2 balls of it. I have some left over. And I did quite a bit of color management to make the socks almost identical and to make the stripes on the foot repeat correctly after doing the heel flap. So if you've knit socks before, you can see like I did the gusset and that was all fine. I did the turn, and then I did the heel flap, and I ended with the dark stripes. But over here on the instep, that's what comes up next after this yellow. So I ended up just cutting the yarn, pulling out all of the yellow, green, white stripe sequence until I got back to the like teal and blue stripe sequence, reattached my yarn, and then kept going. So as a result, I have kind of random chunks of this yarn left from the like off colors, if you know what I mean. So I'll turn that into something eventually. I do really like these colors. I don't know that I would wear them personally. I would wear the blues, I think, but I'm not a big like yellow person. So anyway, they turned out really nice. They fit him well. They took forever. If you've never made a pair of mid socks, maybe don't do it in fingering weight on US size 1 needles. Save yourself the heartbreak. I'm planning to make some socks for my brother for his graduation project, or his graduation gift, and I think that project is going to be DK or worsted socks, because just fingering weight for a US shoe size men's 10.5 was a lot of knitting. It was a lot of knitting, and that's why they're not very tall either. I was just, by the time I got to the cuff and like the leg, I was just like, okay, you're just gonna get what you get. But they turned out really nice. He likes them. That's what matters. They are really soft. They fit him well, so I will count that as a win. And then lastly, I have a big item. It is my green estuary sweater. Oh, okay, there you go. You can kind of see it. It is finally done. You might notice I don't have patch pockets on it. I still want to add patch pockets. Honestly, I just haven't gotten around to it. And after all the frustration with this sweater, I think I just need to not deal with it for a little while, and I'll go back and add patch pockets later. But I have washed it. This green yarn up here is pretty scratchy. It's some random acrylic, like deep stash from, honestly, I think it's from my mom, from a project she was gonna do and then didn't. So it's just pretty cheap, like scratchy yarn. After washing, it did soften up some, so I think with continued wash and wear, it will get softer, but right now it's kind of still not, it's just not next to skin comfortable. But I am pretty happy with how it turned out. The neckband is nice. I also haven't sewn on the buttons. You might have noticed. I've got buttonholes and no buttons. I just bought clear buttons to put on here. I didn't want to introduce another color because this already has a lot going on. I didn't want to introduce another color and take away from the main sweater. So I just got clear buttons. Easy enough. And that is that. I don't have a whole lot to say about it, to be honest. It's a huge project and I'm just kind of like meh. I have worn it a few times. It's not very breathable. Again, it's like all acrylic, so I expected that. But it is warm and it is a nice color, so I do think it'll be a good addition to my wardrobe, even if I don't wear it a whole lot. And it's the first sweater I knit in pieces, so that was a learning experience for sure. I don't think I'll be doing that again. I think I'll stick with my top-down raglans. That seems to work well for me. I think that shape and construction fits me nice, and I just enjoy working on that more, to be honest. So I think I will stick with that. Then, new adventures. I got a drop spindle for Christmas, and so of course within like a week I had spun a full 4 ounces of fiber. This is 100% fin sheep wool roving from Fairwinds Farms in Quarryville, Pennsylvania. I have the little note that she wrote out for me. These sheep, or this farm, we actually my dad is good friends with the people who own it and take care of the sheep and all of that. It's a husband and wife couple, and they have this cute little farm. He's been there. I haven't yet. It's on my bucket list. But they were so nice, and my dad surprised me with some of their fiber to go along with my new drop spindle that he got me. So I spun up the one bag. She gave me like 3 bags of it in different colors. So I started with the gray, and this is the product of my first spin. The tail is not cute. But this is what I came up with. It is a bulky, very, very bulky 2-ply, just basic spin. This is most of that 4 ounces. It was a learning curve. I've never spun before. It was definitely a learning curve. There was some frustration, but I did not give up. I kept going, and I got this nice yarn as a result. It's definitely got lumps and bumps and places where it's not plied as tightly, where like the ply twist angle, is that the word? I'm learning. Where the twist angle is different. I had binge watched a lot of spinning videos, mostly Jillian Eve, before Christmas, because I kind of had a suspicion that I was getting a spindle or a spinning something, so I wanted to be prepared. So I was binging Jillian Eve, and like watching all of her Vlogmas stuff, and then when I got the spindle, I was pretty prepared. So I was able to make this nice 2-ply in about a week, I think. It is not a whole lot of yardage. I think it's like 30 or 40 yards. But I think I'm gonna make myself another headband with it. I wear my blue and rainbow brioche twist headband almost every day here in Ohio. And so I think it'll be nice to have another one in a pretty neutral color. So I think I'm just gonna do a nice ribbed headband. I think I'll have enough yardage for that, and I think that'll show off the yarn pretty well. Yeah, I would say it's pretty soft. It's not like the softest yarn ever, but I'm really proud of it. It's my first hand spun. I'm very excited. And then I did have some fiber left, so I experimented a little more, and I made this teeny tiny skein. And this is more of like a worsted weight, I would say. Like I said, I wanted to experiment a whole lot with this. So this, I spun up the single, and then I was like, I know, I'm gonna try to ply on the fly, which is a chain plying technique where you basically spin a little bit of your spin some single, put it on your spindle, and then you wrap it around your hand or whatever, like as a plying bracelet or a butterfly or something, and you chain ply at the same time. Not at the same time, but you alternate between spinning your single, you put that into a chain ply, you spin some more single, on and on. I was not ready for that at all. I was very ambitious. This is really inconsistent. The chain ply was really difficult. I was nowhere near ready for that. There's some spots where I think it's really over plied. It's like super tight. And then other places where the plies are just like meh. Like they're just so loose. So this is not a very pretty yarn. I can admit that. But I did learn from it. I learned that maybe I should not be chain plying just yet. But it was fun. It was an experience. And I might end up using some of this in the headband as well. I think I might use this for like when I made the other twisted headband, I just made a really long strip, and then you fold and sew the ends together in a specific way to make the twist. So what I might do is use this at like the beginning of the strip and the end so that it's a little thinner. Use the bulky for like the main part of the headband so that when I finish it up and I'm wearing it, it'll be bulky like around my neck and my ears, but then maybe a little thinner and not quite as thick and bulky where the twist is, like on the top of my head. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I have heard, I think I first heard this from Tommy at the Moonstone Makes channel. I've heard from a lot of people that you really should knit with your hand spun or craft with your hand spun, and then it makes you a better spinner also. So I do want to start a project with this pretty soon so I can work with my hand spun and actually know what it's like and maybe what I need to change. I have some pretty basic ideas just from looking at it, what I need to what I need to work on. But I think working with it in like a practical, applied way will help me learn what I want to do for my next spin for sure. So now for works in progress, I got this adorable alpaca project bag. My boyfriend got this for me and I am just in love with it. Every time I pick it up, I just want to make just a little face. I just think it's so cute, and it's on both sides. So this is a project bag. I don't know where it's from. It was a gift. It's got this little handle here. It's got a zip. And then the inside has big pockets on each side. So on one side, I just have like most of my notions stored in there. And then in the main compartment, I have my current project. This is the Tresco jumper. I'm completely done with the body. The hem is flipping up from all this stockinette. I haven't blocked it at all. But I'm completely done with the body. I'm working on my first sleeve. I don't think this project has ever been on the channel before. I think I talked about wanting to start it in my last episode, and this is where I'm at now. The yarn I'm using is Yarn Bee Must Be Merino in teal. This is the same yarn that I use for my headband that I talk about all the time and wear all the time. I think the headband I used the like Aran weight. This is the DK weight Must Be Merino, but it's the same color. The feel of the yarn is the same. I really love this yarn. I do. It's a 50% merino wool, 25% acrylic, and 25% nylon. So it's gonna be breathable and warm, but also washable and sturdy, which is very important for me. I'm living in a dorm right now. I can't really hand wash things. That's just not an option right now. So pretty much anything I make needs to be machine washable. I'll hang stuff to dry. But yeah, I don't have like a sink really to wash clothing garments in. So yeah, either way, I really, really like this sweater. The pattern is Tresco. It's just a really beautiful like eyelet raglan. You just use yarn overs to do your raglan increases, and it makes this really nice, subtle, kind of lacy detail. The collar and the hem are both garter stitch, so it's just really soft, really classic and feminine, and I'm loving this color. It's just a really simple, beautiful project. I'm working on the sleeve, hoping to finish that up soon. I might go ahead and do some like preliminary blocking to kind of get this body under control, especially this hem. It just wants to flip up. And I think when I block it, I'm gonna try and block it longer. So the pattern calls for you to knit like 20 centimeters of the body before you start some short rows in the back and then the hem. I did 25, and honestly I think I should have done maybe 30. It's a cropped pattern. I knew that going in. I'm okay with cropped sweaters, but like I wanted this to be a really nice sweater that I could potentially wear to work when I start my internships and stuff next year. And just like cropped can be, I would say cropped clothing items are sort of on the fence in terms of professionalism. I think you can wear them and have it be professional and appropriate, but I just wanted to make it a little longer so I had a little more wiggle room. I think I still should have made it maybe another 5 centimeters longer before I started the German short rows shaping on the back. That being said, I think when I block it, I'm gonna try to sort of like pull it and sort of stretch it and make it a little longer. Also when I block it, just if it sort of relaxes, if the fabric sort of relaxes a little bit, I think that will help make it a little longer. But overall, I'm really happy with it so far, and I'm excited to finish it up. I think it's gonna be so pretty and just fit my style, and I'm already thinking about if I want to make another one, because the pattern is just simple and beautiful, and I really like it. Next up in my little citrus bag, I'm making another sock on some 9-inch circular needles. I'm working on some socks for the Socks to Match Your Shawl Cal, hosted by Barbara Knits on Instagram. And I'm trying to sockify the road trip shawl that I made a couple months ago with this alpaca yarn that I got on my road trip home from college. So I did the cast on with the pink, and then just some 2x2 ribbing for the cuff, and then these little kind of like garter ridge things. And then I did the diamonds pattern that's in the shawl, and I'm doing some more garter ridges. I'm just sort of making this up as I go and trying to incorporate different elements of the shawl. I don't really know what all to say about this because it's just sort of my brain doing whatever it wants. But I am excited to see how they turn out. I like them so far. I really like these colors. And the alpaca yarns are both really, really soft. And then the dark purple is also really soft and nice. So I'm just kind of coming up with it as I go. I don't know. I'm interested to see how they turn out because I don't know how they're going to turn out. I'm not using a pattern. It's just 64 stitches on a US size 1, cuff down, and we're just sort of going for it. Lastly, this is my drop spindle. I started another spin. So this is how the fiber came. Yeah, so I have 2 bags of this now because I used up all of the gray. This is a really nice natural brown color, and then I have one more that's like a white, maybe slightly gray, but you know, like a natural white color. And it came to me as, I think you would call this roving. I could be wrong. I think it's roving. It does still have some like grass and vegetal, whatever stuff, VM in it. So pretty much just as I get to it while I'm spinning, I just sort of pick it out. But I am spinning this pretty thin. This is about the same size single that I made for my chain ply experiment. But I'm hoping to, I'm gonna 2-ply this, nothing crazy. My plan is to spin the single about this size, ply it with 2 plies, and then have hopefully a DK weight-ish yarn at the end. My plan, hopefully, if all works out, I would love to have enough of this to make the Sunday morning shawl by Espace Tricot. I have no idea how to say that designer name. That's my attempt. But the sample that they have is a similar color, and I just think it's so pretty. But that's a DK weight shawl pattern, so I am hoping that the 2-ply of this will be about a DK weight, and I can make a shawl. I can make that shawl with it. If I don't have the yardage of hand spun to make the shawl, I might incorporate, well, I'm gonna have to incorporate another color. My options would be to either spin some of the white wool roving that I have so that the full shawl would be all of my hand spun. The other thing I've thought of is maybe doing 1 ply of the brown and 1 of the white to make an interesting barber pole, and using that for my shawl. I think that would be really neat. The other thing I've thought of is using the natural alpaca yarn that's in my socks. I still have an entire skein of that. So the other thing I've thought of is using that, maybe for some sections, but that's more of a fingering weight, so I don't know how that would affect the finished product. But anyway, that is what I'm spinning on, or trying to. I am not a very good spinner yet. I've been practicing. I feel like I'm getting better and more consistent. I'm just doing park and draft, nothing fancy. But I am enjoying it. I do enjoy it. So I'm very excited to see how all of that turns out. Thank you again for joining me. I'm so excited for the progress that I'll be making on some of these projects. Hopefully get them off the needles and onto my person. I will see you guys probably in another month-ish to share the progress I've made, and in the meantime, make time to make things, keep on making, and I will see you later.